are honored to welcome Dr. Samantha Dike. Dr. Samantha Dike is a speaker, coach, and transformation expert, passionate about helping individuals break free from limiting cycles and rediscover who they are created to be. Through her work, she equips people to live with purpose, wholeness, and lasting impact. As a certified speaker, coach, and trainer, her message centers on self-discovery, faith, and meaningful transformation. She empowers individuals, especially women, to dismantle limiting beliefs, anchor themselves in truth, and rise with clarity, courage, and conviction. In addition to her work in personal transformation, Dr. Samantha is a doctor of physical therapy with experience in oncology and lymphedema care, walking closely with individuals through moments of vulnerability, healing, and hope. She is deeply committed to helping others recognize their inner strength, identity, and authority while investing in the next generation through teaching and mentorship. We are truly honored to have her with us at the FORWARD Summit. Please, with love, let us welcome Dr. Samantha Dike.
Yay, she's Dr. Samantha Dike. You called. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Yes, thank you all for having me. I am excited just to be in this atmosphere with everyone. And thank you, Coach Bola, for even this platform. The summit has been exceptional. I've learned so much from the audience or the speakers yesterday, today. I have to look back at the notes as well. But if you have not already, y'all can actually go ahead, take a break, stand, move around, move your body, because we've been sitting here for a minute, and I know sometimes the body does get restless. So you just take maybe a little bit of your time just to do that if you need to, get something to drink, and then we will get started. All right. And I also want to just shout out people that are here. We got a big audience here. So thank you, Amanda, Adia, Dr. K, Dr. Carrion, Dr. Michelle, El Niovo, Haley, Jada, Levi, Lucy, Michelle, Oluwakemi, Rita, Sherilyn, Sonia, Tayo, Vivian, and Zanita. I am so grateful to be here. And today's title is actually going to be Overcoming Limiting Beliefs, Unlocking Your Power Beyond Fear, Doubt, and Insecurity. So it is not our limitations that hold us back. It is our beliefs about our limitations that keep us bound. And according to a 2026 workplace study that consisted of mainly women, it was found that 45% of workers avoid promotions and opportunities because they fear being found out as frauds. So I want you to just sit down and think. About half of us possibly have been scared or hesitant to even go the next step because of fear. And I want us to know that the fear is the spirit. Fear is not something that we hold, but it is enabled when we allow it the opportunity to be fed. And the greatest prison is not our external limitation, but it is our internal restriction, the things that we feed ourselves and believe to be true. And limiting beliefs, since that is the subject, are false conclusions that are accepted as truth. You think, actually, I'll just share this right now. I'm currently helping somebody plant sit. And one thing I've recognized is that plants will die if you do not water them. I mean, it's common sense, but truly seeing it in action is one that I'm able to put into reality, because when you feed it, it grows. When you don't feed it, you let the water, or don't water it, it dies. So when it comes to our limiting beliefs, you have to know that you have to feed them in order for it to become real. They are repeated thoughts until they become believable. But the caveat is, what is learned can also, if we learn certain things that are passed down from our families, our environment. I want to keep this belief. Do I want to follow this cycle? Or do I want to choose by making a choice, because it is a choice, to go the healthy route? And overcoming limiting beliefs is not a passive effort. It is active and it is transformational. So, for the sake of this conversation, I actually want to share a story about a woman I know. And for the sake of this, we'll call her Elena. So, Elena was poor in mindset. She operated from a scarcity mindset, and all she ever wanted was for someone to believe in her. She didn't have that brevity inside to know, okay, I can do this on my own, therefore I will. She longed for external validation. It actually started from childhood. Elena would be told things such as, "Oh, hopeless, you're selfish. You can't ever do this. Why would it be you?" And I think a lot of us can relate in some capacity, whether it's from family, whether it's from teachers, or even our peers. And they instill these thoughts of limitation, and we, for some reason, forget about the good things that have been said, and we just focus on those negative thoughts. Fast forward 20 something years later, Elena had an opportunity to go to a graduate school program of which she is applied to. I want to say this was her second time. And of course, like any other interview, the question's always asked, "Tell me about yourself." And this was something that was hard for her to even prepare for, because all she could remember were those negative thoughts, those negative words. "You're hopeless. You can't amount to anything. Why you?" So much so that she even stopped talking to her parents for a little bit, because anytime she would see them, she would replay all these toxic thoughts. Fast forward to the interview. She flew out of the state, had the interview, and at this time, all she could do was focus. Well, before she even had the interview, all she can do is focus on what is true, what will never fail, and what is pure. And that was the Bible. That was the living word that will never change. So Elena made it a point to search up on Google verses about identity, verses about being fearfully and wonderfully made, things of that nature. And she decided at that point to make a choice and stop listening to those limiting beliefs that people instilled in her, but start embracing the truth of who God says about her. Interview comes and she walks in just listening to worship music. She has her interview, and at the end of it, the professor says, "Oh, wow, you're a calm cucumber." She never heard what being a calm cucumber was. So she asked, "What does that even mean?" And the professor said, "From the minute that you walked in here, I can tell that you are confident, and I knew you were going to do well." That interviewer spoke so much life into her that she left and knew, "Oh, I got a spot in this program." Well, Elena is me. I had to go through myself. And I think a lot of us, whether it's when it comes to parenthood, relationships, friendships, whatever, even our own purpose, we have a moment of, will this happen? Can I? Am I even capable? And I want you to take a moment, whether it's 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whichever, and ask yourself, what thoughts have I consented to and come into agreement with? And if you're bold enough, you could even feel free to drop in the chat whatever that thought is. Could be not enough, could be lazy, whatever it is. And it could be something good. And I'm just gonna wait for about 5 people to drop that off in the comment section here. Just anything that comes to mind. Whenever y'all are ready. And if not 5, let's at least do 3 before we move on. You can't. two more. Inconsistent. Yeah. And one more. Thank you, Coach Bola. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Zanetta. Too late. And how did those words affect our actions? See, some of the most dangerous ceilings in life are not made. They're made of conversations. The internal conversations that we sleep in, wrestle with at night or in the daytime. The times that we're in the car or the vehicle, drive anyone here, and those thoughts continue to come in. Some people call it stinking thinking. They're not the words that others speak over us, but rather the words that we quietly whisper and ruminate in ourselves. Like you mentioned, I'm too little, or I'm shy. Maybe I'm not enough. What if they find out that I don't know everything? Am I even eligible for this job? I'm not ready yet. I think that's one that a lot of us like to cling on to. I'm not ready yet, or I'm not enough. Someone else can do it better. Or how about I don't even belong in this room? That imposter syndrome. But I'm going to ask you, and you don't have to put this in the comments unless you decide to, but how did you overcome those thoughts that made you feel low? Those thoughts of darkness, those thoughts of limitation. Yeah, I'm capable, but only so much procrastination. Thank y'all so much for even replying. I truly appreciate this. I truly appreciate this. And I just want to reiterate to you, my friend, that you are capable, that you have authority, that you have value and you matter. There's a reason why you have breath in your lungs today. There's a reason why you woke up today. It wasn't just to go about the day normally. No, it's because you have purpose. And I want you to recognize that, because the world does a great job of making us feel like we're small. But in the reality is that you're as small as you tell yourself. And a lot of us don't go to the next, not because we lack competence. It's not because we lack intelligence or potential. It's because we lack belief. And belief is synonymous with faith. We may claim to be, oh, I'm a believer or I'm a Christian, whichever it is, I'm a person of faith. But if that is true in its entirety, why are we doubting? Why are we doubting that God is who he created us to be, or God is who he is? And why are we doubting the validity of his word about us and our matter? One of my favorite verses, it's been one of my favorite verses since I was a child in a way, is Romans 12:2. And it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then, okay, you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And I think it's important to even just look into this scripture. It says, do not conform to the pattern of this world. So we already have an instruction. It says, then you should be transformed by the renewal of your mind, or the renewing of your mind. Meaning, when those thoughts come in that are not aligning with who God says you are, you cast it out. It says, take every thought captive and make it obedience to Christ. And when we do that, it is only then that we are able to test and then approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And I'm just here to remind you, if anyone has not already, that you are good. He made you in his image. He thought of you before he even created this world. So you can do anything that you set your mind to. What external stories and thoughts have you accepted that are keeping you bound? Because as far as I'm concerned, we're all free. But we're only as free as we allow ourselves to believe. It doesn't matter how much scripture we read. It doesn't matter how many motivational talks we go to. If you don't believe that internally, we're not going to flourish. We're not going to fly. And I'm speaking as somebody who had this experience. It took me a low place. It took me going to a low place for me to recognize, you know what? Maybe I am who God says I am. Maybe I actually have value. And I just want to encourage you and let you know that you too have value. So today we're talking about transformation. You know, the subject of this summit is forward. And in order to go forward, we have to transform. You think about a butterfly, it's not just a butterfly overnight. No, it goes through that transformation. We're talking about breaking every mental barrier, confronting fear, healing from false narratives, and stepping fully into purpose, confidence, and possibility. And by no means is this something that happens overnight. It is a constant effort. It's not linear. There ebbs and flows, ups and downs. But what matters is that you keep saying yes. You keep showing up for yourself. So, what are limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs are the false, notice I said false, beliefs that restrict our potential and hold us back from achieving our goals. And I want you to consider where you are today. A lot of us here, we're mothers or career women, whatever it is. And remember, that's not something that you just woke up and got to know. You took a choice and believed in yourself. And it's the same with other tests in life. You got to keep showing up. Believe you can do that one step to get closer to your next. And when we talk about these limiting beliefs, there are barriers, right? Like think about a prison cell, for example, or just a box. There are gates. You can't just hop out of there. No, you gotta destruct that. So they are the mental boundaries that whisper, stay small, stay shy. My favorite, stay hidden. That false humility, I don't know if about you, but I remember growing up in church and I would always hear, oh, stay humble, God loves the humble and things of that nature. But I didn't search out the scripture for myself to actually understand the full context of where humility and that humble heart comes from. And what is it really saying? That false humility, I'm telling you, my friend, that no, that's you staying hidden. And I think about there's a verse in the Bible, and I wish I wrote it down, and it says that creation eagerly waits for, I believe creation eagerly waits for like the children of God to arise, or something of that matter. So I just want to let you know that when you don't take a chance, you're not allowing God to even get the glory in from this because He's written your story for you already. It just requires a trust and a surrender. And the tragedy about limiting beliefs is that repetition makes it believable. I think about the word, it says to meditate on the word day and night. Okay, so if God gave us this commandment, why are we not following it consistently? But we follow those, I'm not enough, I should stay low, I should stay hidden. But the word just told us the solution. Meditate on my word day and night. And see, when negative thoughts are replayed long enough, they begin to feel like truth. And it's not true. And you see, the limiting beliefs that we have, just like I mentioned with my story, they can be based off of trauma, those toxic conversations, fear. I can write a whole book on fear and how to overcome that. Our insecurities. Oh, I'm not small enough, or I I wouldn't be chosen. Maybe I can't because the people that went before me, they were like this, and here I am. Imposter syndrome. I think we all relate to that in some capacity, or even one of the hardest ones, rejection. Somebody can say something or do something, and then you start to hide and wonder, why is this heartbreak happening for me? Why can't I just flourish? When will my breakthrough come? So we allow those hard moments, those moments of insignificance, those moments of failure, those moments of, oh, I have to make sure everything's perfect, limit us from actually stopping and recognizing, hey, I'm already enough. And again, I just want to remind you, my friend, you are already enough. There is no degree, there is no person, there is no circumstance that will give you more value than that which God has already given you. And I need you to believe and understand this, because the truth of the matter is that the enemy, whether you want to call it the devil, whatever it is going to do whatever he can to limit you, to make sure that you and your bloodline do not go forth and flourish. It starts with you. And I just want to remind you this, because for so long, we allow toxic cycles, whether they're through family, whether they're through friends, whether they're through ourselves, we allow those toxic cycles keep us bound. And then we recognize, okay, well, I guess this is just what it is. But at whose detriment? The detriment of ourselves, and even the detriment of our future children if we don't decide to break the cycle now. So I just want to remind you, my friend, belief is not always a fact. And just because you may feel inadequate, it does not mean that you are inadequate at all. Just because fear, that spirit of fear, that's not from God. He's a God of faith, a God of love. That spirit of fear is from the devil. And that spirit of fear speaking to you does not mean it's the truth. So if you are taking notes, I just want to give you an acronym. I curated this especially for you, and it is called BELIEVE. Because if we're going to overcome limiting beliefs, honey, we got to have some kind of practicality to this. So we're going to go over the BELIEVE framework, BELIEVE. If you're taking notes, we're going to start with B. To overcome limiting beliefs, you got to break the false narratives. You see, the only thing standing between you and your goal is the story you keep telling yourself. You know, we have those silent battles. We mentioned them already. I'm not enough. I don't belong here. Am I even a good wife right now? Am I a good mother to my child? Can I even do well on my exams? Am I ever going to succeed in this education? The only thing standing between you and your goals is the story you keep telling yourself. And this first step to freedom is identifying the lie. One thing that I recently started doing, and I'm actually going to just share this with you if you haven't heard of it already. There is a lady who called it the clapback challenge. And essentially what this is anytime those negative thoughts come to mind, write down the truth of what scripture says about you, or what Jesus says about you. Or let's say you don't even want to go that route, which is fine. Write down the opposite of that. So, for example, one thing that I struggled with is feeling like I was ugly my whole life. Wow. So what I did, I had to literally look at myself, and that was hard, in the mirror, and say, I am beautiful. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And it may be weird at first because it was weird for me. But the more we do it, the more it becomes our reality. And I think about even the senses that we have, you know, the five senses, the taste, the touch, sight, what else? Taste, touch, sight, you know, auditory, things of that nature. And it's one thing to write a thing, but it's another when you start to proclaim the word. So for example, if I say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens, start saying it and saying it and saying it. And I'm not a neuroscience, or I'm not in the like mental arena adventure. So you cannot conquer what you refuse to confront. The next E for believe is going to be embrace the truth about yourself. The real difficulty to overcome is how you think about yourself. And I want to remind you, my friend, that your value is determined by your fears. Your value is not determined by your past, and your value is not determined by your mistakes or someone else's opinions or how they treat you, because the truth is that people can't love you when they don't even love themselves. And confidence grows when the truth becomes louder than our own insecurities. The next L for believe will be let's go of fear and perfectionism. I don't know about you, but for me, this has been a journey, especially the letting go of fear, because a lot of us like to control. I don't know if you're someone that likes to control, put in the chat, me. If you don't want to, that is fine. But the thing about control is that means you don't believe. So why are we allowing this, I got to make it perfect, dictate our next one? We can't even add breath to our lungs. In the words of a lot of people in like Gen Z millennials, the math isn't mathing. So let go of fear, let go of perfectionism, still do the work, still strive or aim for excellence, but you don't need to strive. Just rest. That is true belief. And fear says, what if I fail? But faith says, but what if I grow? So you're channeling or changing your mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. You're not using yesterday's manna or yesterday's food or bread. You're focusing on the now. You see, perfectionism is us wearing makeup. You know, we just want to make sure, oh, airbrush, AI, Photoshop, no blemishes. But honey, progress, that's going to beat perfectionism every time. It is okay, even as I am. This is not perfection. This is me. So it is okay. We've all been there, and we're here to support each other. That is the beauty in community. That is the beauty in having women to lean on. We can lift each other up when we are weak. We can encourage each other. The next one for the framework is going to be I, intentionally rewire your mind. I know we talked about this already with do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed through the renewing of your mind. And like we mentioned, repetition creates belief. If negative thoughts are repeated long enough, they do become internalized. And then we start to self-sabotage, and then we start to think, oh, I can't. But the same principle works positively. If I start telling myself, oh, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm going to start seeing the fruit of that proclamation. Wealth can be in mind, wealth can be monetarily, wealth can be in heart. So I want to challenge you to replace your negative self-talk with empowering words. Replace toxic memories with healing truth. Replace limiting beliefs, possibility thinking. And when you have that active and intentional mind, I guarantee you will have an empowered life. So the next one is going to be E, is execute before you feel ready. I've heard people say do it scared. I sometimes subscribe to that. I've also heard fake it till you make it. I'm not faking anything, honey. I think we should faith it till we make it, because what is faith? Faith is believing in substance, things not seen. So high performers, we don't wait for fear to disappear. No, we move forward despite the fear. Because again, the devil will do anything to make sure that you do not succeed, to keep you and your family and your bloodline bound. So why would we give him that ammo? All right. Confidence, it's not a feeling. It's built through courageous action. Okay. And overcoming, again, is an active process. You can't approach limiting beliefs or conquer them if we're passive, just sitting down. That's not faith. That's just sitting. Oh, it's done. V is going to be value your voice and vision. I know we hear this all the time. You matter. You're special. No, but do you believe that? Again, if you weren't valuable, why are you here today? Too many of us women, we shrink ourselves to fit rooms that we were born to influence. There is a reason why you are in that family. There's a reason why you are in that company. There's a reason why you are a mother to that child and those children. There's a reason why you are that grandmother. There's a reason why that person at the store saw you and spoke to you. You matter. Your voice has value. You are valuable. Your perspective matters. And I never want you, my friend, to allow insecurity to silence what purpose has authorized in you. Remember, you're not doing this life by yourself. It feels like it. Sometimes it feels lonely, like, oh my goodness, is anyone else going through this? I've been there, done that, and still there, where I feel like it's lonely, but then having to remember, no, because if I say that he's omnipotent, omniscient, and everything, I know he's here with me. And I know that he's brought people to help support and have been there before me. And the last one is going to be E, evolve into the woman you were created to be. And this is a journey. I've been blessed to meet women of all ages, girls who are, I think the youngest, 4 or 5, who knows, all the way to people in their 90s. And it's beautiful just to see the evolution of the woman in thought, in beauty, and everything. And if you accept a limiting belief, it will become a truth for you. My friend, growth, though it may be hard, though it may be scary, though it may be something we can't see right away, it does need to happen. Even if it's one little thing a day. And growth begins when we decide to make a choice to stop replaying those old limiting beliefs. We stop empowering fear because we know who we are and whose we are. And we start believing with a different perspective. You don't overcome limiting beliefs overnight. It is a process. You overcome them daily, thought by thought, decision by decision, action by action. That's why I mentioned, even if it means getting something tangible, writing it down, saying it over and over again until you believe it, until you can recite it. Because again, things in the mind become a reality. So my final charge to you is to believe. Believe again. Believe that you can do it. You are capable. I know this about you, my friend, but do you believe this about yourself? So you are bigger than your fears. You are equipped for your assignment. You are loved, honey, despite imperfections, because I know us women and we can look at any little thing and say, oh, I'm not enough, or I need to be this size. Honey, you are loved. You are intelligent enough to grow. You are valuable beyond anyone's opinions, even that of a significant other. You are empowered to lead because the woman who changes her beliefs, she changes her future. Blessed is she who believed. So I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that this was impactful for you, that you left or you're leaving with something special. And I'm going to challenge you to believe again. Overcome those stinking thinking, negative thoughts, and start to affirm yourself in truth. So thank you again for your time. And I appreciate your time and just your presence here.
Oh, wow, 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 Samantha. Oh my goodness. One, I was gonna say, did you see my notes? That's one before. I am so blessed. Most of this, I have a rush of emotion right now because going by what we spoke about and then coming to see how you have so impacted the room today. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank God. I'm just
Thank
grateful
you
to
for
be.
believing in yourself. You're a sister that God has just dashed me with. Like, take this. And I'm so blessed. I feel so honored to have you. Thank you for that empowering presentation. Oh, that was amazing. Really, really amazing. You're
Oh,
going to, I want you to know that
thank
this
you.
is just the beginning. You're going to go far. You're going to go places. God is going to do so much through you, and I believe without a doubt that He has raised you also for such a time as this. I thank you that for your boldness and for taking a step forward into without even seeing or knowing it, and you just chose to show up. I love you
Thank
so much.
No, I even myself, right? I think whenever we present certain things, it's better when we have actually lived through it. And I'm currently living through this. So I'm just grateful to glean from everyone and the wisdom that's in the room as well. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for believing in me too.
Sure, I do believe in you. And I'm grateful that you believe in yourself. So thank you once again. That was powerful, powerful, powerful. I felt like, do I still need to go on? Because most of the things I was going to touch on, you had mentioned, and that shows that the presence of God is also here, that has brought this together in a way that is so amazing. And I also learned one of the things that you said is progress is perfection. Progress is also perfection. That's something. And let me tell you right now, I just realized that we have been living our life focusing on what we have to do, where we have to go, and the outcome all the time. The outcome of what is going to happen when I do, we're not even thinking through the process.
No.
Everybody thinks about, so for you to nail this. So what happened to me was recently I was in a room. My children were doing what's it called, the innovation patents program, but a lot of the children have been complaining about the process because I'm calling it process now because I know which a lot of us as parents do as well. So they will come back and say they're not doing anything. And I'm like, okay, you're not doing anything. It doesn't sound like you're not doing anything, but that's how they saw it. So until the organizer took the initiative to invite the parents into the room, and then it started to break down the process, I was like, oh my goodness. That was the first time it occurred to me that process is perfection.
That's good.
That process is we live so much in the outcome that we forget the process. And that's why God had to rewire us, because process is what makes us.
Yeah.
That's why God had to rewire a lot of us into, and we go through the paths that we went through or we're going through in life just to. And honestly, if that's what's the only thing anybody takes away from here today, I think it's worth it. We need to start to learn to wait and embrace the process of every stages of our lives. That's key. So I'm so blown away that you touched on that. Like, that is something. And I can see how you've also embraced process. It's written all over you. so
Praise God for that.
that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. So we live in a microwave world that we just want to put in something and get out the result. Put in something and get it out. No, God is in the process.
And he's a God of order. I think that's one thing I've learned more recently. I mean, I knew it, but to live it is one other thing. And to be blessed by him, to be covered by him, it requires alignment and order, you know? So it's one of those where would you rather be out of the process and have his hand away from you or be submitted to
Mhm.
him, even though it hurts, but you know that you're in order right where he needs you to be. So it goes back to that belief, that faith. Surrender.
Yes, goes back to the faith. And that's why a lot of us pray and pray. You're getting me to start into my presentation right now. But it's okay, even if I don't have to do it. You're getting me to talk so much about that because it's exciting to hear that, you know. The reason why we pray most of the time is, God, I just want you to get me out of this situation. I don't want to stay here no more. I just want you to pull me out. Just give me the money, give me the house, give me the things. That's how. One day God spoke to me and he said, if I was a president and you have 5 minutes to meet with me, what would you ask? What kind of intelligence? We often forget that God is a God of order. Process is a wise, extremely wise God.
Yeah.
How would your communication be to me? He said, come, let us reason together. How would you communicate? I am praying that as we come out of this conference, we become women who we embrace the process and think things through, think things through with God, process things with God, questions with God, and just sit like you are engaging a president that wants to give you an audience for 5 minutes. And I saw God began to teach me that how many of us have even have an encounter with God? We can't even stand 1 minute encounter with God. We can't. Like 1 minute encounter with God, and you see God, you'll be shaking, you'll be vibrating. So tell me if you have to stay with you for 5 minutes or more than that.
Okay.
You see what happens? So God is a God of He's an amazing Father, and He wants us to come up in intelligence. He wants us to relate with Him in a level that He's proud of. Like, yes, this are mine.
Right.
That's one of the reasons I also believe that we're having this program to rewire the way we think and we process. You spoke a lot about.
And I'll also add that too. One thing that the Lord has dealt with me in is going from an orphan mindset to a mindset of a daughter, right? Like to view him as father. Because if you don't know your identity or your authority in him, those limited beliefs, those lies that Satan puts in, they're going to continue to be true. Because you don't know you don't believe that he is who he says he is. So it's a process because I know everyone goes through their traumas, whether, maybe having a father, not having a father, having a mother, not having one, in the way that they should show up, right? And having to dismantle all these beliefs, all these external factors and say, okay, God, show me who you are as father while I take position as your daughter. And I think that's when it becomes easier to believe the truth because he cares for you too much to just let you go and do whatever.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I am so blessed. Honestly, this whole 2 days has been wow, from yesterday to today. And I'm just grateful for all of you. I'm thankful for saying yes and agreeing to come on this journey. I know that if we get our perspective right, our beliefs right, we're going to shift the world. And that's my goal, that's my desire to see us come out and really showcase the superhuman that we are as believers.
I like that, the superhuman.
Yeah, we are. So thank you so very much. It's
Thank
so
you for
nice to have you.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you all for your time as well.